T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Well, what's up, folks? Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. I'm currently on location, so forgive me for it being all over the place, but my name is TK Trinidad. Welcome to WWT Live, and we have so much to go through. It's like as we are getting the rundown together, there's story after story after story that was coming down the pipes, and we have some special guest hosts that are to be hopping in, helping us as well. So definitely let's get into it. I've known this gentleman for a long time. He's also a wrestler, so he can probably give us some tips and tricks and all that good stuff. Please welcome Sergio to the building. How are you doing?
How you doing, TK? Long time no talk. How are you? How's everything going?
I know. Good. I can't complain. I can't complain at all. When I saw your IG post, I was like, oh yeah, let me hit up Sergio. Let me see what he's doing. Let me see if he wants to talk some wrestling. So what story do you have for us today?
Well, first and foremost, go ahead and follow me on @WrestlingSergio on Instagram. And well, I got an interesting one, TK. Well, you may or may not know him from outside of wrestling. If you follow the NBA, if you follow basketball, you know this guy. He's an 8-time All-Star. He's an NBA champion. And he says that he is a future NBA Hall of Famer. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Dwight Howard. Yes, Dwight Howard, that guy right there. Well, he showed up to Nashville over the weekend, and Nashville, Tennessee, and he showed up to the WWE tryouts. The tryouts. And he wasn't there just watching, because you can't just show up and watch unless you're a who's who of professional wrestling. You can't just show up and watch. Dwight Howard participated, and he actually cut a promo, a promo, and tried to become a wrestler. And I thought to myself, oh, this is bogus. He can't be a wrestler. Then I thought about it. I'm like, he's almost 7 feet tall. Mm-hmm. He's more than likely on his last legs in the NBA. Can he make a change and go to the WWE? Can he go to another professional wrestling league? I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, Dwight Howard might be able to transition into professional wrestling. I mean, he's got the looks. He's got the credibility of an athlete. Right. And he might be able to step into the squared circle and make another career for himself.
I mean, we had Shaq who did it for AEW. It hasn't been a year. But we had Shaq who did it. And we've had other basketball players kind of dip their toe. But as far as a full-on crossover, can you think of any basketball players? Because, we have a lot of MMA wrestler, MMA mixed martial arts folks crossing over. But as far as basketball players, I can't think of anybody in particular, like from the NBA to WWE.
Well,
so what are you gonna say?
To do a full-time jump, I mean, I haven't heard of an NBA player doing it. Yeah, we've had Shaq, who's had the most recent in AEW. Back in the WCW days, Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman did it briefly. A lot of football players do it just because they're little, it's more their lifestyle, more of a physical aspect. But as far as NBA players, those are the only three that I can really think of right now.
Right.
If there's been more, I'm sure there's been some more that thought about it. Everyone watched wrestling, whether they like to admit it or not. But no, everyone, you think about becoming a larger than life persona, and Dwight Howard really is a little bit of, on that side when it comes to the NBA. So can he transition to the WWE or the professional wrestling world? I'd put money on him.
And it's funny. So we have people in the chat. They're saying that Lash Legend. So we do have some like college ballers crossing over, but not necessarily NBA. So I mean, why not? If he retires and he can put in like his full effort into it. Although, I mean, we do have some tall men in the sport as far as the longevity. I mean, anything is possible. He would be a good draw. So I'm for it.
He's definitely he'll definitely would be a good draw. Definitely. I mean, like I said, whether you like him or don't like him, you know who he is.
Right.
You know Dwight Howard. You know his accomplishments, and why not put him in a squared circle? I mean, obviously you got to train him up. It's going to take some time, but he's got the the athletic background to do it.
Right. You're saying are you talking about Omos being Kane being? I'm gonna bring Kane in because I know Kane has a lot to say. Talking about Omos being, oh, he's not on the shoot. Are you talking about Omos being that tall? So I think he's just talking about height because I don't think Omos did.
I think Dwight Howard's about 6'11". I think. I know he was just shy of 7 feet, but Omos is a big guy. His exact height I do not know. I know he's probably just topping 7 feet. But think about this. Think about, let's just say 3 years from now. The possibility of Omos and Dwight Howard in a wrestling ring, one-on-one. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. All eyes on him now. And just imagine, just for shiggles, Dwight Howard brings a whole new generation to a wrestling promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the friends he's had throughout the years, all the connections he's made over 10 years in the NBA, and at that level where he's never been. I don't think he's ever sat down or come off the bench. I think the only time he's ever come off the bench was with the Lakers. So he's been an A-lister essentially in the NBA. So he brings all those eyes, all those connections to a professional wrestling league. I mean, someone's going to have to capitalize it if Dwight Howard chooses to be a professional wrestler in the next, second half of his career.
Well, I am definitely for it, and I'm definitely for people supporting you. So where can everybody find you and all that good stuff?
I'm most active on Instagram. Yes, I love Instagram. Find me at Wrestling Sergio.
And any other promotions coming up? Because I think you were somewhere this weekend, right?
This weekend, yes, I do professional. I am a professional wrestler. I wrestle as Sergio Santana, a wrestling superstar. I wrestle mainly with the Empire Wrestling Federation. That's in the Inland Empire in California, the San Bernardino area, Pomona, Covina, Riverside, all that area. But I do wrestle anywhere that would have me, really. I just came off of a Midwest tour. I wrestled out in Wisconsin and Minnesota just last weekend or 2 weeks ago. And if you guys want to go ahead and check out what I did in the Midwest, go ahead and get on Fight TV and get yourself MAW High Stakes. That's the latest pay-per-view I've been on.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining. You guys definitely go and support Sergio. I mean, you double doing it. So I'll see you when I see you. Thank you so much.
Hey, y'all take care. TK, good talking to you.
Thank you. So that was Sergio, folks. And then I want to, introduce this guy. If you guys are familiar with the AfterBuzz days with myself, me and this guy, we're going back to back. We were duking it out on the road. No, we weren't. But I love to call him Hollywood Jack. We're doing a crossover, so definitely go and follow Hollywood Jack on Twitch. He has a lot of shows about wrestling on there as well. But he is joining us today. Hollywood Jack, How are you doing?
TK, how have you been? It's been too long since we've been on the same show together. You're right. The old AfterBuzz days where we would duke it out with different opinions about the shows. I missed you.
You know what? I missed you a little bit too. I'll definitely say that. It has been. It's what, God, like 3 years.
3 years since the summer hiatus. You know, the summer break is what we called it, right?
Which we're still kind of on.
It's been a long summer.
We'll talk about that later.
But you know what? People aren't here to listen to us chat about the past or catch up and reminisce. They're here to hear the news, TK. And I got a juicy one for you, a little tidbit with some quotes coming from divadirt.com about speaking about women's wrestlers, someone that a lot of people are very, very interested in, none other than Paige, Saraya, whatever you call her. I call her Paige because I still call Triple H Triple H. I don't call him Paul. So Paige has answered a lot of questions. She's been talking about all the things a lot of people want to hear about. First off, is AEW in Paige's future? Would she be headed that way? The answer is not anytime soon. She said, I'm not going to AEW anytime soon. AEW seems great. I love AEW. I would love to face Britt Baker one day if the time is right. That would be awesome. All my friends are there now. So if you're an AEW fan and a Paige fan, doesn't look like it's going to happen right away. She did say she's writing a book right now, though. That might be keeping her busy. But sounds like she's keeping her wrestling options open for now, TK.
Yeah, and I think she also said there was like another project that she couldn't make mention of, and it's not wrestling related. But I wonder if it has to do with some acting of some sort.
You know, that's the thing about pro wrestling these days, and really content in general. It's easier, I think, to get recognized and to get noticed. And because Paige is so well known and she already has a movie made about her life, it seems like a natural transition to go into something like Hollywood. So many wrestlers are making that approach now anyways. I think it would just make sense. If I'm Paige's agent, I would definitely be saying to at least try looking into that. So it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, but of course we don't know. That's all speculation. But speaking of speculation, she also gave us a little bit more information, TK. She gave us a ton to talk about today. She talked about a couple of other people that a lot of people have been talking about, Sasha and Naomi. Everyone's been wondering what's going on with them. Everyone's been trying to figure out what's happening with those two. She also said that she thinks that maybe those two could be coming back to WWE now that Triple H seems to be in control and Stephanie McMahon seems to be in control. She's speculating that maybe now that Hunter isn't, this is her quote here, I think now with Hunter in charge and taking the reins and everything, that I think she'll be back, is what she said. And so that could be a great sign for people who are big fans of those two as well.
I know I don't want to go into the rabbit hole because this particular show, WWT Live, has been around for about 3 weeks, and we probably talked about Sasha and Naomi at least half the time, and it's all been speculation. I'm not even going to run down for you guys who follow us or just been keeping up. I'm not going to say anymore because it just seems like anytime anything big happens, they start trending, even though they haven't said anything. With that being said, we'll wrap up that part of it. But what did you think of SummerSlam overall? Do you think the new higher ups, the creative Triple H, what do you think of his new position with WWE?
I am so excited about WWE. As you know, we've been covering WWE for years now, meaning I have watched just about every second of Monday Night Raw, every second of SmackDown and NXT, and I have not been this excited in a very long time. You can already feel the winds of change blowing. You could see at SummerSlam, whether it be bigger entrances, whether it be the returns of some people from NXT that we thought were gone, maybe not coming back. Maybe I think Dakota Kai was officially released at one point. I can't recall offhand, but she's back. I think that we're seeing that this is definitely a change in the way things are done. And again, Paige just giving us so much, the gift that keeps giving, even talked about that as well. She said, quote, I don't think anyone has been 100% happy with a pay-per-view in a long time, and people are walking away from SummerSlam being like, holy S. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this show. Holy poop, right?
Do you even swear, Jack? I don't think I've ever heard you swear.
I try to keep the explicit tag away from all of my podcasts. But I think she makes a really good point. I mean, regardless of who you wanted to win on this one. It definitely felt like things were different and in an exciting way. And so I am very eager to see tonight's Raw. I'm very eager to see where things are going. And that's what you want from pro wrestling, is that kind of anticipation of wondering what's coming next.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on all fronts. Thank you so much for joining us. Before you get out of here, tell everybody where everybody can find you. Also, don't forget about you being part of WWE as well with their docuseries.
Yeah, you can find me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I'm most active on Twitter, so hit me up on Twitter at Real Jack Farmer. You can also check out my Twitch channel, Real Jack Farmer, as well, going live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Also, Taekwon Mills in the chat, by the way. I see you there. Shout out to Taekwon. I see you on the Twitch stream every day as well. Thank you. But also, as you mentioned, you can check me out on the WWE Evil series. I'm on the Roman Reigns and Brothers of Destruction episodes. You can hear me talking about those two and how great those three, if we talk about the Brothers of Destruction, but hear me talk about them and how much I love them and how great they are, even though they're evil. You can also check me out at Santino Brothers doing commentary and doing backstage interviews at the United Wrestling Network Championship Wrestling as well. And even tonight after Monday Night Raw, I will be on Wrestling Inc.'s After Show and on the Spotify Ringer Show Mac Mania tomorrow, every Tuesday.
Damn, I think the show's over now. I mean, now the list is long. Yeah. We are officially just joking.
You know how it is, TK. You say yes to everything. You just take every job you can.
That's why I call you Hollywood Jack. But I'm so thank you so much for coming on, and definitely we'll reconnect so we can come on your show, and you know we'll do it again. But thank you for taking the time out. Appreciate you.
All right, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and yeah, we'll have to have you on the show sometime.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Woo. So we have two new guest co-hosts and the one who's been with us for the very beginning and who also did the SummerSlam show with us as well. Mr. Bonner, how are you doing?
I'm good. I think I've actually caught up on sleep a little bit from that SummerSlam show. But yeah, I'm doing fantastic. How are you, TK?
Good. What do you have for us today?
So, very interesting things about one of my favorite segments on SmackDown these days, the Maximum Male Models, led by Max Dupree, which I'm not necessarily a fan of the 7 million name changes that happen in WWE.
That part.
Yeah, like there's the whole LA Knight and Max Dupree, but he was pulling off the Max Dupree and Maximum Male Models thing well. It brought us Marseille and Mansois, and I thought this was like a really great thing. Suddenly 2 weeks ago, he was not on Maximum Male Models. Instead, his sister was brought in, Maxine Dupree, who is the former Sophia Cromwell from NXT. So she was quickly moved up to that, and initially we thought they were going to be working together, but apparently one of Vince McMahon's last will and testament moves was to move Dupree from leading this whole faction, which seems odd to me because I really liked him in there, but apparently he and Vince didn't see eye to eye. Vince credited Max Dupree for some segments going wrong, and he said it was because of his delivery of some of the lines. Now, the other side of it is that Dupree, like my consistency there, he apparently has spoken up and been pretty vocal about some of the segments, wanting some things changed. Vince didn't like that. So Vince pulled him off, or at least out of the lead role, because this week he was back on SmackDown, but again, not in the lead position. Maxine was leading things, and he just kind of came in at the end and had a small word to say. Same thing on SummerSlam as well. So it's kind of odd to me, considering he was the focal point, that now all of a sudden he's back in the corner somewhere with just random 1 or 2 lines. And I hope that's one of those things that changes with Triple H at the helm. But kind of weird that Max Dupree is not leading the charge for one of my favorite segments, the Maximum Male Models. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting with Triple H now in power. This feels like a Marvel movie. I don't know about you, but it feels like, okay, he's now in power and he has all this power. And you know, the first go round for SummerSlam, beautiful. But
Amazing.
again, he has all this power. And now in the next 5-10 years, if he continues to have all this power, does he now become what we disliked, Vince McMahon?
Well, I think what's interesting about this is it's going to depend on how much feedback Triple H is willing to listen to and how connected he's really going to be to both the wrestlers and the fans. One of the things that he did so well with NXT was he heard the people and he heard the wrestlers, and he gave us all things. I mean, we walked away from just about every takeover, loving NXT.
Right.
And so now to have that feeling, and again, I know, people don't want to make too many judgment calls from one pay-per-view, but the marked difference between this SummerSlam and every other pay-per-view we've seen in recent memory cannot be overstated. It was absolutely special. And there are those who say, well, it was Vince's last pay-per-view before he left. But to me, if you couldn't see Triple H's fingerprints from the very first match, then you're not really paying as much attention as you should be. So I think if Triple H stays the course, he gets to reshape WWE in the way that the people have wanted. And what's amazing, we heard, Hollywood Jack talk about the fact that he was excited. TK, you were excited. People are excited about the WWE product that have not been excited about this product in a long, long time. So if Triple H stays the course, I think in 5 to 10 years, he doesn't become what we hate. He reinforces what we love.
And speaking of people that we love, and maybe, just maybe, Triple H watched our show last week and took some ideas from this man, Kane McCoy.
This guy.
Yeah. If you didn't watch our show last week, Kane predicted something that was I don't think a lot of people saw coming, because I didn't even, that wasn't even in top of head as far as storyline, and it happened. So Kane, now on the other side of it, how do you feel being the victor in at least half of your prediction?
Yes. Just like my parents, they did not see me coming. They did not see me just being here, being born. Whoopsie daisy, baby. It be that way. It's a miracle. I'm a gift. What can I say? Look, we said on this very show the other day, don't be exposing the secrets, bro. Don't expose the secrets yet. That Austin Theory will somehow be involved in this main event. He got an hour on Raw last week. Yeah, he got his ass whipped on Raw, and he was on Friday Night SmackDown. He got his ass whipped again, but he was predominantly featured. The crowd is cheering, "Where's your daddy? Your daddy's gone." Treating my man's like a bastard child out here, still in Pac's gimmick, essentially being a bastard without a father. But we said that Austin Theory will be involved in the main event, and it happened. He ran down with his Money in the Bank briefcase ready to cash. Now, I predicted that both Roman and Brock will somehow knock each other out, and at the count of 7, 8, or 9, Theory cashes in and leaves as the double champ. However, that did not happen. He got his ass whooped on a Saturday, 3 times a beaten. I think that's how the Lionel Richie song goes. Once, twice, 3 times a beaten or somewhat. And he got stumped out. He was down. But I thought that main event was chaos. So again, it was great to see that Theory isn't going nowhere, folks. Theory is pegged as maybe we shouldn't use Theory and pegged in the same sentence if you've been on the internet, but Theory is pegged as the next big superstar in WWE. So shouts to Austin Theory, because we have seen people lose matches and cash in later in the night. We saw Seth Rollins lose against Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and of course he would cash in on Roman and Brock. So there was somewhat of a precedence, and we thought it was going to happen. So stay tuned. This Monday Night Raw will be the first Monday Night Raw without Vince McMahon ever. So, in Theory's mouth, he got to take duck lips with the pictures, with the selfies. He has to do that. So that's his lips. So it's going to be interesting to see if Theory opens up Raw today. But I know come September 17th, y'all, we're going to open up some Women of Wrestling is back. Our girl AJ Mendez Brooks announced today on the Wild Twitter account that it will be debuting on September 17th across all Viacom CBS platforms. That's Pluto for all of us cord cutter Roku people out there, CBS, Paramount, and whatnot. This is huge for women's wrestling. We are in the golden age of women's wrestling right now, and it's remarkable. I'm so happy to see these athletes compete. And it's one of those things where I remember the first incarnation of WoW after Glow, you kind of had to watch it on like the local TV channel that wasn't a CBS, ABC, NBC, or even a Fox affiliate. It was like the random community channel that just showed random stuff at like 2 in the afternoon when you'll find it. So to see it showcased this way was really amazing. Jump on the WoW Twitter account to see the footage. And they also announced that WoW will be having tapings come I think it's going to be August 26th through August 28th. If you're in Los Angeles, go to the Belasco Theater. You can get tickets at WOWE.com. I got my tickets. You guys want to know how I purchased my tickets? Do you guys know?
I'm going to take a guess.
Purchased my tickets. Yeah, I used my WWE Superstar Credit One Bank credit card. That's right. I used it, and then they told me that I didn't need it because tickets are free. So if you are in the Los Angeles area or looking to come to LA and stay at TK's house.
Oh my gosh.
Why my house?
What about your house? Why not your house? You're Canadian. You have hospitality. It just follows you everywhere you go. You just let people stay there. They come through the Belasco Theater. Ring bell time. Opening time will be 6 p.m. Ring time 7. Bell time 8:26 and 8:27 will be 7 p.m. And then on August 28th, 1 p.m. So we're going to get a little afternoon wrestling. So big shouts to WoW. I'm really excited to see what goes down. Shouts to Fire, aka Kikiera Hogan, one half of the tag team champions. And of course, shouts to our girl. I call her Sarah the Rebel, because that's how we ran the streets in good old Richmond, Virginia. RVA, 2 Up, 2 Down, but AKA Razor, one of the homies here, friend of the network here at Women's Wrestling Talk. She's also involved with WoW. So looking forward to see what goes down. And these were episodes that were taped back in May and July, I believe. Right. So they're going to start like getting those shows, and they were going to tape some more. So Golden Age of Wrestling. I'm excited to see what's next from WoW. And big
it's actually fun. I'm going to play this clip from AJ as far as how many titles she has. Like, I mean, like job titles for WoW. If you watch the clip, let me see here.
Hi, I'm AJ Mendez, the executive producer and color commentator of WoW Women of Wrestling. And I'm so excited to let you know the new season of Women of Wrestling is coming the weekend of September 17th.
So I'm not going to play the whole thing because, you know, I don't know what the
DMCA.
Yeah. And then you also could watch the preview of the show, but it's interesting because the color commentator and the executive producer, being an executive producer is not an easy thing. So I am curious to see, almost kind of like, you know, definitely on a smaller scale, with Vince handing the reins to Triple H, what AJ is going to do, because David McLean has been running the show forever. He's still very much involved. Right. However, I wonder what this version of WoW is going to look like, especially with it being on CBS. So I'm really curious to see what that's going to look like.
I think it's going to be pretty amazing. You guys were talking about some of your friends that are involved. A friend of mine is involved as well. Her name is Rekka Tahaka. She has done some amazing work, certainly in Southern Honor and in a lot of other places. Nice. And Devotion Championship Wrestling, did some stuff in AEW for a little bit, did some work at Battle Slam. And so she signed actually with WoW for, I think, at least a year deal. So it's really exciting to see what's happening with her. So she's actually in the graphic you showed. She's to the right of the champion.
With the fro?
She's the one like this.
Oh,
yeah, she's on the right hand. Yeah, there she is on the
Nice.
right hand side.
Okay.
That's Rekka Tahaka. And so I am super excited for her. She's an amazing talent.
Nice.
Who's done some incredible things. You guys are going to love her. And so it, to me, says that the product is going to be a very serious product. You know, McLean, of course, has had history where, you know, it's not necessarily been as athletically focused, but I think
we've seen Glow. Yeah.
Well, I was trying to be kind. And so, you know, now I think, again, with how women's wrestling has evolved, I think this gives WoW an opportunity to really create something very, very special. So I'm excited for this. I think this is a major win for women's wrestling.
Facts, very, very much so. Now it's just a full house today. My heart is full on, and for FYI, guys, today is the only show for this week. I am going on my birthday shenanigans literally after the show, so I'm just like so happy. This is awesome. But
happy birthday!
Yes.
This is not all, folks. Miss Mimi is in the building.
Yes. Hey, y'all.
Mimi.
Hey.
Oh my God, it's your birthday.
Well,
Happy
it's on
birthday.
Wednesday, but I've been celebrating for 6 weeks, but this is the vacation.
Oh my God, but that's amazing. And it's so great to see all these king faces. Hi, guys.
Buongiorno, Mimi. Who you finna pull up with today, Mimi? Because last week you pulled up with the Black Wrestling Club. You know what I mean? So
I gotta live on today.
You know, when you show up, you show out with like special guests and exclusiveness happen on
live streams from Madison Square
Garden.
Live
Streams from MSG. Like, I mean, I just feel like at this point you're gonna pull up like a wrestling journalist fight card press conference or something, because that's what happens to these streets apparently.
Well, you know, I kind of want to put something together for WrestleMania 39 in LA. I think that is the place to do that. What do you think, okay?
A wrestling nice. And then we can have a wrestling blogger battle royal. It seems like everybody
like the fastest story
just wants to fight. I don't know. I've seen the interwebs. This stuff is writing itself apparently. Jeez.
You know what? That's a
exactly.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Do that battle slam. Gerard would call it.
That's another topic for another day.
Yeah, that part. What do you have for us today, Mimi?
Well, Rhonda suspended. And why she's suspended? Because she's mad. Now, I watched the match. I think that Liv has been growing so much, and I've given her a little bit. I've been a little hard on her, but I feel like she's done a lot of growth. She really, really wants to be in a business. She has, you know, teamed up with Natty to make sure that she gets what she needs in the ring. And I feel, I don't know what's going on with her promos, if she's getting any work there, but I have to imagine that if she's doing that, she's doing the other, because it goes hand in hand. And I have to say, like, I was not very interested in Ronda Rousey with the Charlotte Flair feud, but I feel like here she really it seems like she was invested. And this whole turnout on Saturday, because I almost said Sunday, Saturday, really showed that she's mad. She's mad. Liv tapped. We all saw it, but it was a really clunky, because it happened so fast. I think I was talking to you guys offline about this. Like, it happened super fast. I didn't know what happened. All I knew was the ref was in a compromising situation. Liv was in a compromising situation. And a couple of times during that match, I kind of felt like, is she going to break her arm? Because not a lot of people walk away from that arm bar, you know, in one piece, with their arms in one piece. But I felt like she was going to play her like a rag doll, like she did Alexa Bliss that last match that they had way back when. But I kind of felt like the match was not bad. And it was it was my least favorite match on the card. And you know, though I missed the ending because it happened so quickly, I was impressed by the both of them. So she took her frustrations out on the ref, you know, and on Liv, and now she's suspended. Let's see how long.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because I think that's what we might have said either during the SummerSlam post show or after. Like, and I know you said this, Gerard, as far as giving Liv some time to, you know, the matchup wasn't great. So how they finished it was probably the only way they could finish it, other than Ronda getting it back. So with Ronda taking some time off, because we don't know, like, again, this is this is the stuff that we're not privy to. Like, you know, they're injured, but they're really on vacation.
Right.
Or are they really injured? Or are they suspended? Or are they really on vacation? We just we don't know. I'm guessing to think this is part of the storyline. All right, you did a really big part. Go and chill with your child and your husband. Let's build up Liv. Let's do this thing. Because let's be honest, unfortunately, you know, and sorry, Sammy, if you whenever you watch this, like Liv is it's gonna be a short run. So
I'm surprised it lasted this long, honestly. This was my least. Money in the Bank is usually, it's not really one of my favorite pay-per-views, but the last couple ones were okay. This one, I just was so uninterested. I was so uninterested, and I hate giving those types of takes because I always want to be positive about it, right? Because at the end of the day, they put their lives on the line for us. But that one was a little, you know, clunky a little bit. And then with her, I felt like she doesn't always give me that presence of a champion, but I wanted to give it a chance, right? And so I felt like I feel like she's been trying a lot, but I 110% did not think that she was going to walk away today on Saturday as champion. And she shouldn't, because it's not really believable.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with some wrestlers, the chase is better than the actual reign. And I think we're kind of seeing that with Liv a little bit. Liv's chase was amazing. She was in the hearts of the WWE universe.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, okay, she's champion, but what monumental things that she has? And maybe she hasn't been booked that well, because you do say, Sammy, that she's the only woman to beat Ronda Rousey twice. Asterisk. Because you got to remember, Ronda Rousey has not lost a start to finish singles match in WWE. Ronda has never lost a singles match.
She lost to Charlotte at Mania this year.
At Mania?
Yes.
Oh, well, it just happened. Well, then excuse me. Wait, this is WWE. You're not supposed to remember that.
Wrong guy.
What are you doing? But she immediately won it at Backlash. That's right. She immediately won it at Backlash. So mine is that it's rare that she's taken a pin without some type of controversy. She loses in a triple threat, or like there's like the Money in the Bank situation.
Right.
So it's rare that happens. So I like what they're doing with the character. Obviously, Ronda's going to go full-fledged heel, which we need. She was in MMA. She was in UFC. She was actually knocking people out for real. So she shouldn't be walking, forcing this weird smile thing she does and just happy to be here. No, you are a human jujitsu wrecking machine. You beat people around the world, literally.
Do you remember that Alexa Bliss match? It was like this.
Yeah.
She just which way do you want to fall next?
Exactly.
This way or that way. I'm sending you wherever you want to go. So I'm hoping upon Ronda's return that she is booked like a super badass. Who knows if Charlotte is just kind of taking some time off. I would like to see Charlotte in the title picture. I don't want to see Charlotte against Ronda because they're both going to be heels. So I would love for, Liv to kind of maybe go on a run a little bit, and then Ronda returns and becomes like that heel champion.
Yeah.
I was literally, when you said Charlotte, I was thinking of Nikki, because
that was the best signal. That was the signal.
This is exactly what I forgot. Well, so shout out to WWE. Nikki, our senior writer, and Santana, our editor-in-chief, were at SummerSlam in Nashville.
Yay.
And the package that they did for Charlotte was just it was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And I meant to text Nikki, like, you see what they're doing right now. Like, are you losing your mind? I mean, Charlotte, as far as I know, wasn't in the stadium, but that package, for the fact that she didn't even have a match at SummerSlam, that was a pretty extensive package. So, are they hinting at something? I have no idea. But to go back to Ronda and Liv, the fact that Liv can do that what Sammy was saying, I mean, even though we could, it was not necessarily a clear win, she can still say, I beat Ronda twice.
Yeah.
And she could use that to build on her self-esteem. Not to say she has low self-esteem, but like, I'm the only woman to beat Ronda twice. Now people can kind of get behind her for that. But we'll see what's gonna happen with Liv and Ronda.
So Mimi, who do you think is Liv's next challenger?
Charlotte Flair. That
Charlotte's
package
gonna make a return?
I 110% feel like that package was intentional. And the magnitude of that package was warranted. She's the queen. It couldn't have been anything less than that,
Like, love or hate Charlotte Different.
No,
it's just what it is.
Very different.
Charlotte different.
But I
She
think
different.
if we're going to have a reign that's relatively believable for Liv, we cannot have Charlotte. We cannot have anybody else who is top tier at this point. And that's not to be ugly. It is simply to say, if we're going to build Liv in a way that she is believable, then we have to watch her go up the ranks as champion. I had an interesting thought. This might not be a popular take, but Kane, when you were talking about the chase sometimes being better than the reign, I thought about Kofi, right? Like, we were totally behind Kofi, but unfortunately he didn't have the kind of reign that we probably wanted him to have and that he was deserving of.
That is
so,
fair.
So with that said, I think they have a chance with Liv to build her. And I don't know that was totally Kofi's fault. I think he was just handed some opponents that did not really give him the chance to raise.
They weren't invested in him.
Yeah. So I think with Liv, they have the chance to change that. But I think they're going to have to. It can't be another Ronda and Charlotte. Give her. I mean, if we're going to talk about people who've done things that nobody else has done, well, then put her in against Carmella, the only 2-time Money in the Bank female winner, right? Do that and let her build her cachet that way, as opposed to, if you put her against Ronda and Charlotte and she beats them, but you haven't had Bianca in the ring with either of those two to have the. Come on now. What
do you think that she'll get there? Do you think that she'll get there?
I don't know.
As a believable character.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's going to take a while for them to do that. But if they do it right, because she's going to have to show a serious side to her that we haven't seen. We've been inspired by the journey, but now we've got to see, okay, I'm the champion. It's almost like there's been a bit of an edge that's been added to Bianca. When Bianca won the title initially, but Bianca had to turn a corner so that we could go, oh no, she's ready to have these high level fights. And then we've seen what she's done with the Baileys and with the Beckys. And we go, yes, it makes sense. So I think she's going to have to do some things to make it make sense.
Yeah. So who do we have? Because I'm gonna actually put a poll up right now because doing the producer host thing right now. Who do we have as possible? I know, right? If I can get that money though. Who do we have as far as possible opponents for Liv as options?
So if we're on SmackDown, let's see. I mean,
we've done Natalya, we've done Ronda. So we got Natalya out the way, then we got the Ronda out the way.
I think Shotzi has been hollering a whole lot about I want a title shot. Shotzi's a really good. She is on SmackDown.
Yeah. Yep.
That would be a great place to start because you do two things at once. You give Shotzi finally her title shot that she hasn't had, but then you give Liv a space to actually win that match to prove, hey, I've been beating some competitors. I think she's on that list. Eventually you get to Lacey Evans. I think
Lacey Evans
options. Yeah.
They got to figure out. They got to figure out what they even want Lacey to be, And Lacey was scheduled to be on SmackDown, and she's gone. She's just kind of over the place. You know who it's going to be. We all know who it's going to be.
Who's it going to be?
Former NXT Women's Champion Raquel. Don't call me Gonzalez Rodriguez. I think it's time for that.
She beats
David
Raquel
versus Goliath situation.
But they've been built the way they've been building Raquel.
Yeah,
I don't think Raquel loses that match.
Yeah, like even with Shotzi, I don't think she wins over Shotzi because Shotzi's good.
Shotzi's very good.
So it's like,
and in the ring.
So it's like, how do we book it without burying somebody else coming up, but yet making Liv's championship defenses mean something?
Do you put her in against Aaliyah with the quickest win in history?
Yeah.
I mean, that's an option.
That makes sense.
Who beat Natalya?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, you could play the story.
So
you could play it up. You know,
And now that
Well,
Triple H is running
Shotzi-
things, we acknowledge stuff. So now that Triple H is, we actually acknowledge the past,
Right.
and things can
Right.
make sense. So you know what, Aaliyah would make sense to say, "Hey, I beat Natalia. You beat Natalia. Now I'm going to beat you." So
Right.
you know what?
So
And here's
Aaliyah. That's
Shotzi,
what you got.
Raquel, and
Carmella.
Charlotte as a. Or you want to do
Carmella.
Carmella? Okay.
I
All
would
right.
even throw Nikki Ash in there.
But she's on Raw, right?
I know.
Does
Bring
it
her
matter?
over.
Yeah.
They've been, okay.
Bring her.
Yeah.
They just added 3 amazing new folks over to Raw.
Right.
Bring Nikki
Yeah.
over.
Which is amazing. Shouts to Bailey and
Oh my God.
The Raw
What?
Women's
Io
division
Shirai,
went like,
or
what up,
I know.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, Io Sky. What is it?
Yeah,
Io Sky. Io
Yeah,
Sky
Io
now.
Sky.
Yeah. And of course Dakota
I'm with
Kai.
it.
Yes.
Back in this thing.
I am
Was
with
dope.
it.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
I am for all of that. So you guys gave me some options. So if you're writing, because you know Triple H is watching us,
Right.
That's right.
if you're writing, who would be the next opponent, and does Liv retain?
I mean, think about the cachet. I think Sammy said Nikki Ash was laughable. God bless you, Sammy. But here's what I'm going to say to that. Nikki Ash is a former Raw Women's Champion. Nikki Ash is a former Money in the Bank winner. Nikki Ash is a former Women's Tag Team Champion. Right there, you have enough credentials where if Liv beats her, now we go, she's beaten former champions.
Yes.
She's got more experience than Liv. It's a thing that makes sense.
Right.
Because I don't know if they're going to do anything that I hope they were going to do with Doudrop and Nikki ASH. I thought they were going to
that
really.
Could have been a dope team. I thought
they're going to do something to maybe chase the tag titles, the women's tag titles. But then that thing happened. So there's no women's tag titles currently. Although these tweak screets been talking. The rumor report.
We gonna wait.
Oh, just a rumor. We gonna see. We just gonna wait. Stay tuned. But we got the NXT Women's Tag Titles. Maybe we could be getting the main roster titles back soon. So maybe they can revert to that with Nikki and Doudrop, who they should just send to SmackDown the team with Drew McIntyre. I mean, it's right there. They could just,
But here's what I'm gonna say. I feel like
matching kilts.
Doudrop is singles. Like I feel like she can be impactful as a singles competitor.
I mean, if you go back and watch some Viper matches, which was her name,
I did.
Viper in overseas. What was it? WXW and and a couple other overseas feds that you could watch on WWE Network. Piper and Kaylee Ray.
Yes.
Now Albert Fry, Fire, if you will.
Yes.
They tear it. They have a whole hardcore match. It's badass. Like Viper gets busy.
Yes,
so that's what we want to see.
I did an article for Fightful on her, and that was, I went in blindly and I walked out like, wow, this girl is super badass. And I feel like those matches that she had with Bianca were amazing. Like everything that she's done thus far has made me believe that could they take a title from somebody and give it to her? So I don't know if I wanted to see her in a tag kind of like duo. I feel like she would be more impactful because of, just the fact that she's such a monster that she would really benefit by going against everybody on the main roster right now.
It's like wrecking shop.
I feel like the whole the WWE women's roster right now, like I don't think anybody can touch it. Anybody right now. I'll be honest, and I don't watch other stuff, granted, but nobody's making noise, and these comebacks.
The comebacks are pretty massive.
It's about
the comebacks are massive,
crazy,
and especially if it's that comeback, the comeback that we will not discuss,
right?
Because, we're not. We're no longer going to discuss.
But these tweets talking
till it happens, right?
But I was gonna say, what's gonna happen, TK? It's gonna happen while you're on vacation, and we can't talk about it for a week.
You know what? Honestly, if it does happen, I might.
No, you enjoy your vacation. No,
because
it's a massive story. But
you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't mean to hate on your vacation, but you might have to come on. You might have to bring that laptop.
Naomi.
It's a big one.
It's
a big one.
Naomi.
It's a big one.
Yeah, there was a lot of big ones. A lot of big ones happening this weekend.
Yeah.
All right, Kane. What do we have next? Who do we have next?
All right, guys, we're gonna close this chapter of the show by talking about a closing chapter that happened this past weekend. Busy weekend. We had SummerSlam. We had the last man standing match, last time ever, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And we also had Ric Flair's, Richard Morgan Flair, last match asterisk ever. It was held by Jim Crockett Promotions. It was very dope to see some good old wrestling throwbacks. Tony Schiavone was there. They had the Jim Crockett set. Flair pulled up wearing the championship belt, and he walked out already looking winded.
Gerald.
G Money, you were all in the chat, just highly vocal about your views of the match. Share with us how you feel, G.
Well, let me start by saying this. I was there for Flair's original retirement match.
Right.
WrestleMania 24 in Orlando, 70,000 people. I was third row. It was special.
Yeah.
This thing that happened Saturday night. So for as much, I want to be very clear. I love the throwback with Jim Crockett Promotions. I love the throwback of that set that Tony Schiavone and David Crockett were on. I love the mixing in of commentators from varying organizations. The fact that it was even in the Nashville Municipal Auditorium. I loved all of that. I love the undercard. The undercard was amazing. Hey, quick follow-up. Jonathan Gresham showed up, folks. And he wrestled.
Right.
And he won.
Did
he won. So we can probably put to bed the room. Yeah, so that was a moment, and I was really happy. But then Flair comes.
I was like, and then,
and then, I mean, wait, let me build it more. Jeff Jarrett at 55 looks incredible. You know,
Jarrett looks good.
I mean, looks amazing. Antagonized every fan in that arena. Jay Lethal was crazy. Andrade, and then this long pause, and Ric Flair comes out. He came out with his back to us, showed us the beautiful robe, but when he turned around and he had that purple T-shirt on, I said, throw the whole pay-per-view away. Throw it away. Throw it away. Throw it away. And here's why. The last time Ric Flair wore a T-shirt in the ring, it was the final match of Monday Nitro.
Monday Night Nitro, yep.
Because he was out of shape. So we just watched all of these videos leading up. If you've been paying attention to the videos, he's doing these workouts. He's posing. He's got these guns, all this stuff. Chicken flab for days. T-shirt the T-shirt wearing limousine. Yeah, that guy.
In the T-shirt wearing in the pool.
We can't body shame Ric Flair.
I'm not.
No.
No. When you do workout videos,
yes,
that's the problem.
We expect
results,
and
and you are posing and you got guns.
We had expectations.
I'm waiting to see the work you did. I'm ready to applaud you at 73.
73 years old.
Vince McMahon is 76 years old, and I guarantee you, Vince has got guns.
Brawling. So, I mean, Ric Flair pulled up looking like a Dana Howard. He was a Dana Howard T-shirt and his panties on, and we're supposed to accept that.
God.
He had T-shirt and his panties on.
I didn't say that.
I said, what are you doing, Flair? With a championship belt on that kind of fit. I don't know if they adjusted the fit for him, what they did. Like, why did they send him out like that?
No. But then here was my other issue. It's a tag match, right? Mm-hmm. So this whole thing was designed.
Wait, who was his tag team?
His tag team partner was his son-in-law, Andrade, which there's a whole comment he made about Andrade that I won't say here because it's going to just send us up into flames. I just won't do it. It's so easy to do, but Kane already knows what it is, so I'm not going to do it. But I will say this.
I missed it.
I missed it.
I have to type it in the chat. It's going to send to you.
Okay, wait.
It's just
Kane doesn't mind getting burned.
Kane, do you remember the comment, Kane?
He's the real McCoy.
Well, put it in the chat, and then I'll decide if I want to say it.
I'm going to type it.
You got to see it.
But if you don't want to see it, then it has to be bad.
Yeah. Might as well look at it real quick. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go.
That's why I can't say that.
With Tiger's video being taken down, we'll just leave that. We'll leave that.
So Flair, all he needs to do is tag in once, come in, do a couple of chops, do a woo, and we're good.
Yep.
But Flair starts the match. And Flair, I started getting sad because we really started to see that this is a real 73-year-old man with a pacemaker in his chest. Okay. I mean, like, he's real 73. He's not like, he's real 73. And he wanted to be in that ring the whole time. And there were points where he was laying in the mat and could not move. When Andrade went to hand him the brass knuckles and his hands were shaking because he couldn't put the brass knuckles, I'm like, y'all are going to let this man die in this ring.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. And this is how bad it was. It was so bad that at the end of the match, Ric Flair says, I hope I entertained you all because I don't remember half the match.
Half the match.
He said that. That is word for word. And I know why he didn't remember. I know why he didn't remember half the match, because he was nearly unconscious for half the match. If you are a Ric Flair fan, this match made you sad. I was sad, and that's why I'm so vocal. Y'all have not heard me ever this vocal on this show.
Yeah,
it bothered me. Why? And then he's gonna stand and say, I had 2 retirements and I like this one better. Sir.
He's supposed to say that, though.
Sorry.
No.
He can't say.
Now, what WWE did for this man in 2008 was the single greatest send-off they have ever given a wrestler. Here, a man came from Starrcade and got WrestleMania. 70,000 people against one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Shawn Michaels. You could not have booked the story better.
Right.
But instead, 14 years later, he decides that's not enough. And it is just brutal to me.
Yeah.
It was sad. It
felt like borderline elder abuse.
I mean, it really did.
No, you didn't.
When Jay Lethal hit him with the top rope suplex, I thought Ric Flair was going to explode.
Like,
when he hit him I thought Ric Flair was going to just explode into multiple pieces across Nashville. And like, I was so worried. And when I saw his hand shaking with the brass knucks, I was like, oh no, stop it. He's going to get through. And then he punched Jarrett with the knucks. The finish saw him hit him with the knucks barely, and then put him in the weakest figure 4 leg lock I've ever seen. It wasn't even a figure 4. It was like a sketch 2. It wasn't even a figure. It was like a sketch.
And here's what's horrible about that. The referee, it wasn't even a submission. The referee counts to 3, but both of their shoulders were on the mat. Flair couldn't even lift his shoulder up off the mat, and they just counted it. Oh, okay. Well, if we're going to do bad reffing, you know what I mean? Like, it is, I don't ever want to see Ric Flair. I don't want him near a ring apron.
And he bladed. And like we said he was.
Which we knew he would.
We had predictions like, will he blade? Yes, and he definitely bladed. And we joked that his last match should have been against The Undertaker, because that's who he's going to see immediately after. And sure enough, Taker was there.
Which was a really big deal. Like, there was way more WWE involvement.
Mick Foley was there.
Mick Foley was there. They had videos.
Bret Hart,
Shawn Michaels. Bret Hart was there. Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler, like Cody. Like, it was really, really something.
Well, you know,
special.
Triple H is a Ric Flair guy, so
Absolutely.
you know, regardless of, because I was shocked when they gave him his future endeavors. So that makes me feel good that at the very least he allowed that to happen.
Yeah, this match probably won't be featured in the next documentary that they're working on.
Oh my God.
So it probably won't be featured.
But his pride will let it do. His pride will make that happen.
Yeah,
guys, it was very, very sad. Like, do you remember, if you guys watched the Andre the Giant documentary, when they were talking about him at WrestleMania and the fact that he could barely move? That was Ric Flair. They were doing things around Flair.
Correct. Yeah.
Flair was literally standing stationary at some points. It was bad. It was.
But here's the thing. As Ric Flair has been a wrestler probably what?
50 years
70%, yeah, 50 years. And he says so like 70-80% of his life.
Right.
And the rule of thumb is if you are, I don't want to say professional, a training athlete. So if you trained from childhood to high school, after you graduate high school, in your mind, you still think you're an athlete for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
If you play college,
I still got it.
you think that you're an athlete for at least like 10 plus years. If you're
Right.
pro, that could be extended depending on where you are health wise. But Ric Flair has been, and mentally, Ric Flair has been a wrestler for 50 plus years. And where I'm going with this is that even though his body is like, we're donezo, in his mind, and I hope nobody steals my question, but this is what the question I want to put out there. How old does he think he is in his mind? Because I'm pretty sure everybody, I forgot who said this. It might have, I've watched so many interviews, but everybody at some point in time, they almost stop their mind. They're a certain age as their body ages.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because that was the highest pinnacle of whatever they thought there was, like their glory days.
Right.
So I wonder, like in Ric Flair's mind, how old he think he is.
Right.
Because that's what got him into the ring.
I would agree.
And then his body's like, no, you're 73.
He's died twice. He's got a pacemaker. I mean, like,
because Flair was damn near 60 against Michaels. He was almost 60.
Yeah, he was 59.
And I mean, he looked good in that match. And we said that was it. Yeah,
59.
man.
That was 15 years ago. Yes.
I mean, during like the Monday Night Wars, he was in his 40s. So, Flair has some longevity.
Next question is, does he retire?
Does he retire again? You know what? I remember. Do you remember when Ric Flair was inducted into the Hall of Fame the night before that match with Shawn Michaels? He screamed this and he cried it. I will never retire. I will never retire. I think Flair is never going to retire.
Yeah.
He's never going to walk up to his next match.
I think that he's gonna wrestle a beer can. That beer can is gonna get that revenge from that episode of Nitro 20 years ago where Ric Flair knee dropped the beer can, and that beer can is coming back, or like the father or his son. No, the beer can son, which is now a hard seltzer because we drink differently. Wow. The hard seltzer will come back for his revenge and take on Ric Flair.
I'm sorry.
Ric Flair and Charlotte. It'll be the beer and the hard seltzer versus Ric Flair and Charlotte. And Ric Flair's last match for real this time. That's the name of it.
Oh my gosh. Here's what I'm going to say. I feel like the people around him I'm not going to say that they don't care about him, but I feel like when I was at WrestleMania, I met a couple of people that were around him that needed to meet him or whatever. And they hold him to a certain regard. And so I think because folks hold him to a certain regard, they get blinded and they forget that this guy is a human being and he's mortal. Like he's mortal. Like he can die. You know what I mean? And he's almost died a couple of times. Why would anybody say this is okay? I felt like that with Taker. That match between him and Roman Reigns made me sick to my stomach. I could not watch it anymore because this wasn't the Taker matches I'm used to watching. Snot was coming out of his nose. And that image will forever be implanted in my brain because I felt like, and when I saw the documentary, now it made sense to me that it was him. Like he just was such a perfectionist, but I don't think Ric Flair is in that mindset, in the Undertaker mindset. Undertaker was consistently wrestling and he had his injuries and it was time to stop, but he wanted it to go out in a bang. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that he did an injustice to Roman by coming back and doing AJ Styles. Because you're supposed to leave the business better than you left it. Yeah, it wasn't horrible, but at the end of the day, like it showed everybody that Roman can carry somebody like that. You know what I mean? And so with him, that I didn't even watch wrestling at that time, but that match against Tim, and every time I see that clip, it's heartfelt. And you took that away from HBK, just like Undertaker took that away from Roman Reigns. And
Right.
so again, leaving the business the way you like, better than you found it. And I
You
just
leave when
felt
you're
like-
back. That's usually the case. You always leave
get
when
out
you're
of
back.
it. And we see that with primetime TV, right? With all these shows, they end their seasons after a while. I don't know what's going on with Grey's Anatomy, but they end their seasons super.
They'll never
early because
retire.
They're like, you know what I mean? They end it before it gets to a place where you're a shell of yourself, and this is beyond a shell of himself. And
Well, what's-
and I just you're a pinnacle of pop culture. Like nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. We want to see Ric Flair drip with this guy and that guy, and we want to. That's what we want to see. We want to see you videos. We don't want to see you.
Yeah,
there.
but here's the thing, though. On top of that, Ric Flair's not thinking about any of us. I mean, yes, he thinks of us as fans, but
Clearly.
I mean, all of us have had grandparents, and I was looking for this video of this one grandmother who I literally started following because she literally asked her daughters to give her some weed, and she's like 80-something years old. After a certain age, and she cusses, and she's all about her fraps. Like, if you don't get her a frap a day, she is cussing everybody in the house.
That's right.
After a certain age, you just get ornery.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you gonna do? Are you gonna fight the person you love, even though you want the best for them, or is it just better to like look? I mean, you're not doing anything crazy, but it is crazy.
This is crazy.
But
Bladen,
Yeah, he played. Yeah,
you can average.
I did enjoy Ric Flair doing like the "Oh my God, Elizabeth, I'm coming."
Now that was scary, and I was.
It looked legit. I got worried, and then Jay was like checking on him.
For real?
Yeah, and then Jay was like checking on him, and Ric Flair goes, "Boop." Classic, dirtiest player in the game.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that spot.
3 minutes later, he couldn't get up.
He
So
was really-
I was like, "Oh, did this really just happen?"
I was like, let's end this.
Oh.
Hey guys, just to wrap it up, what do you think happens first? Ric Flair stops wrestling or Ric Flair stops driving?
He's still driving.
I thought he doesn't drive anymore.
He still drives, isn't he? Well,
No,
I mean,
he doesn't
is
drive anymore.
You're
I know
right.
that for a fact.
Well, I don't think he never drove because he was the limousine riding, not the limousine driving. So,
right.
There's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he's not driving anymore.
But
I mean, I think it's very clear to say that he's not retiring anytime soon.
Nope.
He probably might have been thinking of another match as we speak.
It's like, damn, I lived.
Right.
So
right.
I made it out.
mean, it is what it is. We'll let Ric Flair be Ric Flair. He said that he wants to go in the ring, so I guess
He
Let
did
him go.
say
do
that.
Yeah.
So
He,
Oh.
yeah. Mm.
My
Yeah.
goodness.
Always invite the Undertaker. Always invite the Undertaker to the matches. So you got to
And Rick Foley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mick Foley. Everybody.
Did y'all
yes.
see him kind of shade Mick Foley though?
It was like a little here and there.
It was-
I noticed that.
So
Because you
when
remember,
he hugged Undertaker at the end of the match. Mick reached out for a hug and he kind of gave him that little, and then he went over to the next person
yeah,
and
Brett
then came
him was
back
over
and
there.
came over to Brett, hugged Brett,
Yeah.
skipped Mick again, and then went about his way. And Mick, you could tell, is trying to be real nice and real.
Yeah.
Do they
I
have
was
beef?
like, oh,
They've
they
had,
had beef.
they've had a situation, big beef. Remember, Ric Flair once called Mick Foley a glorified stuntman.
Stuntman. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
In his
yeah.
book,
No
that.
lie.
In his book, in his whole book.
Yeah.
Yeah, in his whole book. Yeah. So they kind of settled it here and there. So I kind of saw it. I was kind of like, you
That
know.
was just a weird moment. It was
Yeah,
weird.
because I was like,
Wow.
I was like, is Flair just disoriented? But then he did it like twice, and I was like,
Right.
He was able to do an interview bleeding on
Come
Tony
on, he
Schiavone.
came to
So
see you. He
yeah,
came
so
to see you.
I was interested.
Mm-hmm.
Or
he didn't
Or-
see him.
they're setting up Ric Flair's actual last match, a hardcore match, barbed wire match, Ric Flair
Oh,
versus
God.
Mick Foley
Oh my god.
for the
Please don't do
NWA
that. Don't do that. Don't
championship.
do that. Don't put that
Do
on
it.
us. Don't
Do it.
Well,
Gosh.
anything's
And,
possible.
and I'm gonna go there and watch the match. Want to know how I'm gonna pay for it when I go to watch the match?
How?
Want to know how I'm gonna pay for it? I'm gonna pay for it with my WWE
card.
Superstar credit card from Credit One.
Are you gonna get a credit? Are you gonna get a
Yeah.
credit increase? It
Uh,
was $25 last week. It was $25.
Questions legit.
I'm working. I gotta pay that first, and then the balance raises. We'll get into that later. We'll get into that later.
With that being said, let's wrap this baby up. Where can everybody find you, Mimi?
Right here on I Am Mimi Shells on Twitter. It's me, Michelle's on Instagram, and you can find me tomorrow night, 7:00, Turnbuckle Spaces, Thursdays, Club 8:35 on YouTube at Black Wrestling.
There it is. And Mr. Bonner, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Bonnerfied on all of the socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can follow the podcast at The Faction Show. We've got Southern Honor Wrestling happening this Friday. It's going to be a crazy show. This Sunday, we've got Battle Slam, so I've got a very full weekend coming. Looking forward to that, as Lil Scrappy is in the main event against Baron Black. That should be absolutely crazy. We've got the debut of District Championship Wrestling coming on August the 14th. And all sorts of other various and sundry things. And you can get the new t-shirt at prowrestlingtees.com/Bonnerfied.
And then we don't know it. I mean, no, Gresham has been taken off the card, but
he might show up.
Possible now?
That would, yeah.
Anything is possible. So we'll see.
We'll
I'm
see.
excited.
And Mr. Kane McCoy, where
yes,
can
follow
everybody find
me
you?
at Kane McCoy, CAINMCCOY. I'm gonna go find a fellow wrestling blogger and start a beef with him and record it and post it everywhere. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for that.
Setting up for Hollywood, y'all. Setting up for
this was
Hollywood.
popping. Setting it up.
With that being said, thank you guys for joining us. FYI, we only have one show this week, which will be today, unless Sasha announcement with Sasha and Naomi. That will probably be the only thing that brings me out of vacation. Other than that, make sure you're checking out our website, www.talkpod.com, for all our articles, all our show videos, all that good stuff. Definitely go and follow us on social media at www.talkpod and www.talk on TikTok. We have some great videos on there as well. Yes, other than that, you can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. Till next week, guys. Thank you for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.